Oh, there he goes again, blubbering again.
I am not blubbering.
Well, who could tell with those waterworks?
Oh, and I suppose you never cry when you're chopping onions.
I don't. I know my way around the allium family, me.
The what?
The allium family, the onion family. Perhaps you should have been chopping leeks instead of onions. Then you wouldn't have been blubbering.
Oh, yes, I would.
You would?
Yes.
And why?
Because you told me to chop these onions.
Oh, if that's the case, then carry on. Chop, chop.
Yum, 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 yum.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of One Chef One Critic. I'm Karl Wells, food critic for The Telegram.
And I'm Chef Steve Watson of Central Dairies.
Well, Steve, the onion family, allium family, there are many members of this family.
Indeed there are, Karl. There are more than 200 different varieties, and I've just brought a small sampling here. We have our red onions, which is sweet. We have our bulb onions. We have some shallots, and some of our cocktail onions as well. And you not only use the bulb of the onion, you could take the leeks, just use the whole body of it perhaps, or you could use the green onion, and you'd use these in salads. So, yeah.
Yes, and essentially they all are providing flavor to a dish.
Indeed they are, Karl.
Similar flavor.
Similar, whether it be cooked or in the roast.
Yeah. Some are mild, some are a little bit stronger, but the thing is, you really do need onions to put a good taste on a meal. Coming up on the show today, we have Dana Parsons with us. She's an entertainer, a singer. She's got CDs on the go. She sings with Spirit of Newfoundland Productions. She has her own band, the Dana Parsons Project. What are we cooking with Dana?
We're going to be making salmon quiche.
I don't think we've had quiche on the show before.
No, we haven't. We don't need quiche.
Yes, we certainly do. And Chef Roger Andrews is with us. He's an instructor with the College of North Atlantic, but he's also owner, operator of Relish restaurant, and he's going to make his famous land and sea chowder for us. It's an award winner, so stay tuned. For a complete listing of One Chef One Critic recipes, wine lists, and more, check out our website. Let us know what you think of the show at 757-9600 or send us an email at onechef.onecritic@rci.rogers.com. And it's our pleasure to welcome Dana Parsons to One Chef One Critic. Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And we're going to have a really hearty dish for you today.
Absolutely, we're going to be making a nice salmon quiche, so let's get started. What I've got is a beautiful quiche bowl here, pan, and we've already put the pastry roll that already out. So what we'll do, we'll start with our salmon, and we'll flake it like that. Okay, and then you can put it into the bottom. You can lay the bottom of the actual quiche.
Fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely, and then you can put that in there. That would be great.
And I'm going to do some potatoes. Basically, it's just small red potatoes?
And white potatoes steamed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to
melt that with some butter and some parsley and some parmesan, Karl.
Oh, lovely.
That would be good.
I can do that.
And keep it nice and flaky, and you can just lay some of that in the bottom.
dip
Just pour it in there.
backwards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, can I use my hand?
Like we just go like this, and then we'll just scoop it in there. That's fine.
Scoop it in.
That looks like beautiful salmon, doesn't it?
It is, yeah. It's from Bay d'Espoir. It's local salmon.
Now, you probably could do this with tinned salmon, but I wouldn't recommend it.
No. I'd like to get the fresh salmon.
Yeah. Dana, when did you start singing? Were you just a little girl?
Many, many years ago, clearly.
Like 4 years of age or something?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I idolized Tina Turner for some reason.
Okay.
And so for kindergarten career day, I showed up dressed as Tina Turner. I just really, for some reason, thought I was going to be Tina Turner.
Yeah.
But luckily, my mom really supported me in that. She's a fabulous nurse.
Well, that's great.
And even though she had a nurse costume prepared for me, she allowed me to continue with my Tina Turner dreams. And everybody got up and spoke about what they were going to do. And of course, I got up and sang, "What's love got to do with it?" in kindergarten.
What?
And the rest is history.
I saw Tina Turner here live.
You did not.
That's good.
That's good.
That's perfect.
At the old stadium. That was quite a few years ago.
That I wasn't old enough to know.
No, I probably weren't even born. But,
no, I was born because my parents went.
It was quite a concert. I remember.
Some mushrooms over it.
Gorgeous.
So we've got some mushrooms. Now this, you could use other kinds of mushrooms if you want.
If you did, yeah, absolutely.
Cremini or something like that.
That would be very nice
Yeah.
in there as well, Karl.
Yeah.
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 I'll take the fork from you there.
Or just
Dana, you write a lot of your own music, correct?
yeah.
Yeah. Do you just perform your own music, or when you're recording? I should have said on your CDs. Do you do covers, or is it all your own music?
On the CDs, it's all original music.
Yeah.
And you know, when we do club gigs or private functions and stuff like that, then we do covers,
Yeah.
which is enjoyable. I mean, any
Yeah.
kind of music to me is enjoyable. I mean, I love being able to do my own music, but yeah, when we record them, it's kind of like a different personality. You know, that's
sure,
a
yeah.
different part of
Yeah.
me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the composer, original artist, doing her thing.
There's like the musical theater
Yeah.
performer, then there's,
Yeah.
you know, the Spirit of Newfoundland, which is the dinner
That's
theater
right,
and
yeah.
that kind of great stuff. And
But the
singer-songwriter.
stuff that you write and record, your own material, what genre does that fit into? Does it lean towards any particular genre? How would you describe it?
It's a toughie. It's I always say singer-songwriter because I just think, you know, maybe it'll kind of incorporate everything. I mean, there's on this second album that we did, there's a little bit of everything. There's pop rock, there's kind of folk, there's even an accordion and a banjo, there's a ukulele, so it's a little bit of everything. I love the freedom of being able to not just put myself in a box and just be able to kind of be open to any kind of music that comes to me.
Yeah.
I don't sit down and say I have to write a pop song or
Yeah.
I have to go with one or the other. So
It's kind of like a visual artist who sometimes likes to do an abstract piece,
Yes.
and then they like to do something
Yeah.
that's more real or
Yeah.
realistic.
exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Some people are scared by that. They're
Yeah.
nervous about going outside the box that they've been put in.
Yeah,
but
they don't want to say, well, she's really good at this, but she's not so good at that.
No.
It's yeah.
You should be able to do a little bit of everything.
Everything.
You know?
Be very flexible.
Yeah.
Very good.
Now what's that? And what are you going to do next?
So what do we do? What I did, I just added some scallions to the top of the mushrooms, and then I've got 6 eggs and some fresh cream and some fresh dill in there,
Gorgeous.
and we'll just pour that over the top of our
I love fresh dill.
quiche. That's going to blend in quite nicely.
And I'm going to put all of these little baby white potatoes in
With the
this
potato and saute them off,
beautiful melted butter.
Oh, that looks so good.
Yeah. Now you went to Sheraton College, which is, I guess, musical theater. Is that what
Yeah.
you study there?
Yeah, it's a great program, and it's been around for many years. And they do visual arts. It's just a really, really great program.
They're going to have to put a Newfoundland and Labrador wing
They really
on
should.
Sheraton because so many people from here go there, right?
And they're great. They love Newfoundlanders.
Yeah.
I think we've had a really good rapport with them, and we work really hard when we're there.
Sure.
And we're very prepared when we all
Yeah.
go. So
Yeah.
to audition for them.
Yeah.
I'll get you to maybe grate some the
Great.
cheese on the top of it. That would be perfect.
Should I use the small grate or the big
The
one?
small grated. Yes, sorry, that was my fault. Yeah, and that's a creamy hibachi with vegetables. That's what we're putting on there now. And then we'll top that with some tomatoes afterwards.
And I'm going to put parsley on these spuds. So
And then we'll put some parmesan as well.
parsley
Karl.
potato. Yeah.
There we go. I think the colours are going to be quite nicely there once the quiche is cooked.
I go a bit overboard on the cheese.
Oh, no, just fill your boots. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, 2007 was a great year for you. You got 5 Music NL nominations,
Yes.
an ECMA nomination.
Yeah.
For It's You Not Me, that was your CD.
Yeah.
And you got the Galaxy Rising Star of the Year award,
Yes.
did you not?
From
Yeah.
CBC, it was.
Yeah.
That was a surprise, and it was a delightful surprise. I must say, I got a lot of support, and that one was for my first album. And yeah, I wasn't sure kind of what I was doing, so it was.
So was all that kind of, I'm just wondering, like it's been, 6 years, I guess, since then. Was all of that attention, really helpful to you in those ensuing 6 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had been away for a long time, so working on cruise ships and that kind of stuff, so came home with the idea of really focusing and finally getting to do the CD that I had always wanted to do,
Right,
but never felt like it was right. So being able to come back to Newfoundland and do the CD here and be able to release it and have such amazing support. It's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, I feel very lucky as a musician and a performer to be able to live in Newfoundland and feel supported.
That's obvious, yeah.
Here, you know, there's a lot of great projects you can put on, and people are just open and willing here, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now you say you was on cruise ships. Were you in the Mediterranean? Were you in...
We did a little bit of everything. So we did Hawaii and Alaska and Aruba, Colombia, Mexico.
And that was all entertaining on board?
Yeah, I had a little. I started off doing a Motown group called Pop Machine. It was pop rock music as well, so that was my very first project and going out on the seas, and that's where I met my husband. He was playing piano in a different group in the main stage orchestra. And
where's your husband from?
he is originally from Vancouver. Oh. Yeah, and he loves Newfoundland.
You brought him home?
I made him stay here, so we're not leaving.
He performs with you, does
Yes,
he?
yeah, he's my piano player and sax player, and I'm also very fortunate that he loves Newfoundland and calls Newfoundland his home as well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to
Very
hear that.
lucky.
Yeah. So, what are your impressions of the countries you visited when you were on the cruise ships? Anything stand out?
Hawaii. It was always a life dream of mine to be able to go to Hawaii. I just never thought I'd probably get to afford to go to Hawaii.
Yeah,
So
with 4,000 of your favourite friends on the boat.
4,000 people I didn't really know.
That's right, yeah.
It was a great opportunity, and to be paid to see it and really travel. And also Alaska. Whenever I was homesick and we would go to Alaska, we'd get off the ship and it just reminded me so much of Newfoundland. It's incredible. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to head to the wine cellar and pick out a bottle of wine to go with this quiche, and you can carry on.
Great.
We will
I think that's under control.
No
Steve.
problem. Thank you very much, Karl. If you just stand to the side there, and through the wonders of TV, we have a quiche that is already made. I'll just get this. There we go. And that was in the oven for about an hour and 10 minutes, purely because of the thickness of it. So
That's picture perfect.
and that's it, Dana. Voila.
Hi, Martin.
Hi, Karl, how are you?
I'm great. So we've got this beautiful salmon quiche. It's a deep and delicious quiche. It's a real main course. We're serving Parmesan potatoes with it as well. What kind of wine should we go with today, I wonder?
I would go with something nice and fresh, and where you can use quiche as well as for brunch. I thought let's switch it up a little bit and go with 2 sparklings and a still wine, for instance.
Okay. Yep.
So I selected, first sparkling wine I selected is Prosecco from Italy, from DOCG Valdobbiadene Corneliano. It's the top Prosecco at the liquor stores, and it was the first Prosecco in Newfoundland.
Cannibal.
Cannibal.
Yeah. How much is the Cannibal?
It's $26.
26, okay.
And the next one is a Cava, sparkling wine from Spain. This is from the Rioja area. It is made in the traditional method, so like a champagne, like a French champagne. Tastes a lot like a French champagne. It's an absolutely gorgeous wine with champagne taste, but not the champagne price.
So
24.
Yeah, because a good champagne would cost you at least $55, $60 dollars or more. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The next wine is a still wine. It's the Cuvée Blanco. It's Sauvignon Blanc, Verdejo, and Viura. It's a very fresh, great acidity. It would be a lovely wine with the dish that you're going to serve.
And how much is that one?
That one is $14.
Well, that's a good price.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, as much as I love sparkling wines, I think that for this salmon quiche, it requires something a little bit more conservative.
Okay. No, absolutely.
Less effervescent.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Cuvée.
Absolutely. Great
and
choice.
I'm sure it will taste really fine. Thank you very much, Martin.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now let's just take our third piece of quiche out of our pan there, nicely placed on the plate, like so. And let's go and visit Dana and Karl at the table.
Here we go. Real men eat quiche and real men drink white wine. All right? Anyway, let's taste this salmon quiche.
Beautiful.
Which we have labored over, or well, you guys did.
Smells
Anyway,
so
I didn't do that much. I did the potatoes.
Way better than my quiches.
Boy, that's good. And using fresh salmon is
A big difference. Isn't
And
it,
fresh
Kathleen?
dill. You
That's-
can really
yes.
taste the fresh dill.
that is the only way to go. Yeah. Dana, I was going to ask you, do you do much collaborating with other entertainers, other singers?
Yeah, I mean, with especially with the Spirit of Newfoundland, you work with so many different performers in different kind of capacities, and you meet new people you might not have actually gotten to
You know, of course,
meet.
Dreamgirls was
Dreamgirls,
that's
yeah.
that was a collaborative
It is,
show, really.
yeah. That's Janet Cole and Kellyanne Evans, with Simon and Garfunkel, Sheila Williams, Darren Martin, Chris LeDrew, like all very different people. Every show you do it, so it's great.
So, how many bands do you actually have on the go now? You had the Moonglow Trio, which was on the cruise ships.
Yep.
Is that still on the go, or?
That one is not so much on the go. It was pretty much just for going out and doing the cruise ships.
So the Dana Parsons project.
The Dana Parsons Project is a pop rock group, and we do private functions and gigs and festivals. And my husband and I, we do jazz duos and trios as well in and around town. And then there's the singer-songwriter stuff as well, and the musical theater stuff.
So if some group out there for a private function or whatever wanted to hire you guys, how would they get in contact with you?
They can check out the website at www.danaparsons.ca.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
And there's videos and everything on there.
Oh, great. Well, I mean, I can attest to the fact that you're an absolutely fabulous singer, one of the best.
Thank you.
And so, well worth seeing Dana Parsons and her bandmates and her hubby. Anyway, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for
Dana.
having me.
All the best to you in future.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we have Chef Roger Andrews, who's going to make his land and sea chowder.
You've seen the show, and now there's a book. Cooking with One Chef One Critic by Karl Wells with Steve Watson features 120 recipes, more than 200 photos, and plenty of behind-the-scenes stories from this long-running series. Cooking with One Chef One Critic is available now.
Relish Gourmet Burgers is a downtown burger restaurant well known for its variety of juicy signature burgers. Less well-known fact about Relish, the outlet downtown, is that its owner-operator happens to be an award-winning gourmet chef and cooking instructor. And he is with us now, Roger Andrews.
Hello, Karl.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing, Roger? So what are we going to be making today?
Today we're going to be doing a land and sea chowder. So it's a base of fresh seafood, mostly shellfish, as well as a lot of land items. Like I got some chanterelles there that I picked earlier in the summer, some potatoes, some bacon, some dill, and we're going to put all that into the chowder base, which is already made. It has a mirepoix of carrot, celery, and onions, as well as the chanterelles and the bacon.
Okay.
And then we're going to put the seafood in afterwards. It's in its raw state. The lobster and the scallops in its raw state, because you don't want it to overcook. There's nothing worse than having the fish overcooked and sitting in the chowder for a long period of time. So you put it in little increments at the end, and it cooks beautifully.
Now, you won a couple of grand for this recipe, didn't you?
Yeah, it was 2000, a couple years ago. Yeah, back in 2010, I believe,
Where was that?
in Prince Edward Island at the International Chowder Competition.
Whoa, so we've got an award-winning chowder, which is great.
From an award-winning chef.
From an award-winning chef. So once you've got your base put together, it's just a matter of what?
Yeah, so the base has been made very minimal on the flour for this. The thickening actually comes from corn juice. So you want to take your scallops right here, just cut them if they're big, cut them in half so that they're nice and small. Some fresh lobster that's been shucked out of the shell raw. That's going to give you some beautiful color in there. And again, this is not cooked yet, it's just out of the shell. The actual clams and stuff has been cooked, and that's the basis of the broth. That's where the flavor comes from. And then we have our mussels that have been cooked as well.
Would you use some of the broth from the mussels as well if you didn't have the clams?
The broth from the mussels is actually what is the basis behind it. That as well as a little bit of the juice from the lobster. So the residual heat that's in the chowder is actually going to cook the seafood through. Towards the end, you just put a little sprinkle of red potatoes in there.
And these have been blanched as well, huh?
These have been blanched and partially cooked through. So you can see the real color starting to come out there. You have lots of greens and reds and orange and black.
Yeah.
Towards the end of it there, we'll just finish it off. We'll let the seafood cook a little tiny bit.
Now, is there any reason why you didn't put this scallop in?
I was saving that one for later, actually.
No, I think we should just go ahead.
There we go, no problem.
No need to be skimpy on the...
Throw the mussels in there too, Steve.
Absolutely, yeah. He started something now, so
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's go ahead.
So essentially, you're poaching the fish now.
You're poaching the fish directly in the broth, and
Yeah.
what that'll do is it'll give you flavor as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So once you can see the scallops start to turn color, you know that they're starting to get cooked. I'm just going to turn up the heat a little bit there just to get it going. And what it's doing is all the seafood flavors actually going right into that broth as well. You can see the lobster turning that brilliant color. And the mussels and the clams are already done, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So you want to give it a little tiny squeeze of lemon
Oh, yeah.
just at the end.
Yeah.
Just because lemon and seafood go so well.
Absolutely.
We're going to put a little touch of cream. This is the only dairy product that's in this. Little tiny hit of cream towards the end. As I said, the thickening corn comes from actually from corn juice, and the natural starches in the corn has been pureed.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what corn juice is. What is that?
You just take the kernels of the corn and put it through a commercial juicer, and it gives you a very starchy, sweet liquid.
Oh.
Yeah, and then as that heats, the natural starch thickens it up.
That is, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good for people with celiac and stuff
Yeah,
like that as
like
well.
most people think of, powdered cornstarch
Yep.
as a thickening agent, which is quite widely used, but
Yep.
that method that you just mentioned is not something that would have occurred to me.
And then you get the full flavor
Yeah.
of the corn as well,
Yeah.
the sweetness.
Yeah.
One key thing that you always have to do is you always have to give it a taste.
Yeah.
Adjust for seasoning. I know that the seasoning is fine there now. I wouldn't want to go too much more.
Yeah. So what about all of this stuff? That's already in there, is
That's going to be a little bit of garnishing.
Oh, okay.
Towards the end, the chowder is just about done there now. You can see the lobster is starting to firm up nicely. The scallops are done.
Yeah. And it doesn't take very long to cook seafood once
No, not at all.
once you introduce it to the heat.
Absolutely.
So now it should be ready to go, and we can bowl some up
Okay,
there.
let's have a look at it.
So just move this stuff here.
To the side, and there's your ladle.
Ladle, and it's going to be very, very simple. You want to make sure you get all that seafood in there. Lots of color.
Perfect.
We're going to go with just a little bit of this dill oil. So it's just a puree of dill. And a little bit of neutral oil, just as a little flavor enhancer on there. A little sprinkle of bacon.
Okay.
And one little ploosh of...
Yep. And the clock has run out on us, so that leaves us with just enough time to say thank you very much, Roger
Oh,
Andrews.
no problem. Sorry to take up all the time.
That's okay. And that's it for this edition of
One Chef?
One Critic. Now we can taste.
No, we can. Indeed, we can. I thought you would have gone for all the scallops.
Nice. Very, very nice. So Martin, there are many kinds of sparkling wine, and they're not all, and should not all be labeled champagne, correct?
Absolutely, yeah, that's a common misnomer because champagne you can really only call something that is actually from the Champagne region in France. So even other sparkling wines from the French territory cannot be called champagne. So everything else has to be called sparkling wine. And there's different ways of making sparkling wine. The traditional method, like a champagne, or the Charmat method, like in Prosecco, or then just introducing carbon dioxide, like you do with baby duck or something like that. So.
Okay.
Well, I could hardly tell with those waterworks.
Oh, and I suppose your eyes never water when you're chopping onions.
Well, I know the way around the Ellen family, me.
The what?
Alum.